I just came out of meditation and some information came through the portal, my portal. And I went back and watched American Horror Story Season 8. And at first, I thought that the Antichrist, I have another perspective on this Antichrist. At first, I thought the Antichrist was the rise of Cthulhu or the subconscious mind, but that's not what it is. I have another perspective on that. The Antichrist represents an imbalance. Yeah. The Antichrist represents an imbalance. The Antichrist represents the conscious mind, aka the ego. And when I went back and watched the last episode of the season of American Horror Story Season 8, The Apocalypse, I realized after really, examining it, I realized that Michael Langdon was a representation of the imbalanced ego. Mallory, who was the witch from the coven, who went back in time to kill him or to stop him from, bringing about the apocalypse. Mallory was symbolic of the subconscious mind. So what I'm saying is, and the reason I'm talking about this is because I made a video yesterday or the other day talking about, the down low and how that is representation of the hidden aspect of the subconscious mind. And see, there's so many different aspects to the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is not just this or that or this or that. It's not, no. The subconscious mind has many different aspects to it. Under the mantle of feminine and I guess you can say masculine or whatever you want to call it. But I don't really want to get into that. So when we look at the conscious mind, when I look at the conscious mind, and when I put it in a feminine or a masculine aspect, based upon what I saw, and based upon the color of the car or the truck that Mallory used, because anything that deals with black, that means black or dark, that just means hidden. So that truck was symbolic, along with Mallory, as a form of the subconscious mind that was actually killing the ego or taking out the ego. The ego was Michael Langdon, the Antichrist. He was symbolic of the ego. Mallory was symbolic of the subconscious mind. So when Mallory went back in time to eliminate Michael before he became, the Antichrist, well, before he brought about the end of days, she went back in time and she ran him over with a car, with a truck, a black truck. So basically, this is what I'm saying. The subconscious mind is feminine. The conscious mind is masculine. That is why there's such an imbalance in the world today, because we're only operating from the conscious mind. There's no balance. There is no balance. And where you find an imbalance, it's usually because there's too much or too little energy in that area. For the conscious mind, there's not enough feminine energy that is penetrating the conscious mind. Subconscious is feminine, conscious is masculine. And the further you go, this is how it goes. The further you go into the darkness, the further you go into the hidden aspect of who you are, the more you will come in contact with, or the more you are coming in contact with the feminine aspect of you. The darker, the more feminine aspect you are tapping into. Okay? The the more light, that's more masculine energy. Knowledge is light. That's what knowledge is, and knowledge is also masculine, I learned. So therefore, if knowledge is light, then masculine must be the light aspect, and the feminine must be the darker aspect. So the subconscious mind, the subconscious mind, which is hidden, is in actuality feminine energy that operates up, or it's aligned with feminine energy. The darker you go, the more you go into the dark, the more you will be tapping into your feminine energy. That's how that goes. How do you go into the dark? Through deep meditation. Through deep meditation, closing your eyes. And when I say deep meditation, don't get it twisted. I'm not talking about going. You don't have to do all that. Not that. No. Just meditation, closing your eyes, shutting yourself down. That's all it takes. That's all I did. And every time I do that, I come back with more information that I feel as though I need to talk about. And I need to, just bring about, because that's what I do. I'm the occult view. So I am so glad that I went back and rewatched American Horror Story season 8, because now I get it now. See, at first I thought the Antichrist was the rise of Cthulhu, but in actuality, the Antichrist is actually the ego and the conscious mind. And the witches in Apocalypse, they were different aspects of the subconscious mind trying to shut down the ego. And Michael Langdon, he was the son of Satan, the devil. And when you really look at it, the devil is associated with the lowest aspect of who you are, or the devil is associated with the I guess you could say the lowest root chakra, or what they call the lowest frequency, which is red. And when you really take that and you connect it to the conscious mind, which our conscious mind in a way is the lower aspect of who we are, that's humanity and all that shit. When you really connect it, it makes sense. Red root chakra, conscious mind, all of that shit is connected. It correlates with each other in a sense. So again, Michael Langdon, the Antichrist in American Horror Story season 8, he was symbolic of the conscious mind and the ego. There was no balance there. Because if you notice, see, here's another thing. If you notice, in that season, he was very, very, although there were women that he did admire and that did admire him, he was really anti-woman and anti-feminine. He wanted to destroy the feminine energy. He wanted to destroy the feminine energy, therefore destroying the witches. Because witches are what? They're female. And what did I just say about it? I'm talking, well, I know they used, whatever, but I'm just, when I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about black women in particular. But nevertheless, that's feminine energy. And he wanted to get rid of that. The same way the conscious mind or the ego wants to get rid of the subconscious mind. The conscious mind and the ego wants to stay in control. And we saw a battle between the subconscious and the conscious mind in American Horror Story, The Apocalypse. Now, that was one thing I was right about. The real apocalypse is the war between Set and Osiris, the hidden subconscious mind. Set and Osiris. Remember, Michael Langdon was symbolic of Satan's son. So he was a form of Set, Satan in the flesh. The witches were symbolic of the subconscious mind. And while we're at it, this is another thing too. So if the subconscious mind is really feminine, then could it possibly be that the way that we have been looking at Osiris has been in maybe not the right aspect? Does that mean that Osiris was actually a feminine energy and not a masculine energy? Because think about it. If the subconscious mind is feminine and Osiris is symbolic of the subconscious mind, then that would mean that Osiris was also a feminine figure. I know y'all ain't ready for that. See, we've been taught to believe that all of these gods and deities and angels are men. Everywhere you turn around, they say, oh, him, 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 him. No, 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 no. We're going to put a stop to that motherfucking shit right now, because I'm going to tell you what happened to me. I'm just saying for myself. I ain't speaking for nobody else. I'm saying for me. I've been communicating with an angelic energy. And what happened was, I didn't realize it at first, but what happened was I had a dream when I started communicating with this angelic energy called Lekabel. I had a dream first. Didn't understand the dream. I saw a black woman in the dream who I didn't know at the time was symbolic of Lekabel. I didn't know it at the time, but then I figured out who it was. So just ignore that. That's my phone ringing. Just ignore that. So